Hello, hello, hello. My name is Valkyrieholmes, and this is an interesting title, isn't it, for the video? I've honestly never really wanted to talk about this, or at least not for a while, and then the sudden urge kind of fell upon me when I was thinking about my guiding words for the year. For more info on that, you can check out my last video about why New Year's resolutions suck, but hop on to that after this video. I oversexualize myself. This was something I thought about a little while back and felt like no one was really talking about. We're all told all the time that kids in our generation, or the generation before, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Xers, I think is what the next one is called, we're all getting deceptively older while staying the same age. At least older than older generations looked when they were 14 and 15. I'm sure you've seen countless memes and videos and pictures of younger girls trying to look more mature with a lot of makeup or provocative clothing, and a lot of them are funny, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a fine line between young girls trying to look older and more mature and young girls trying to look sexy. This is a weird topic to kind of touch on, but I wanted to kind of dive into it a little bit. So maybe this video isn't for you, but it is for me. So hop on in, let's get into it. I'd like to start off with a little bit of a personal story and say that I have been over-sexualizing myself since I was about 11, 12, 13 years old. I have an extremely overactive imagination, and so whenever I was exposed to things that were interesting in books and movies and things like that, I thought about them a lot, and one of which was sex. I want to put this out there that no matter where you're from, no matter what your background is, it's not a shameful thing to admit that. It's a perfectly normal thing to think about sex, and while I didn't think that for a long time, no matter what age you are, it's bound to happen at some point. So, again, it's perfectly normal. Go at your own pace. I know for me, however, by my own standards, I got into the idea of sex pretty early. A lot of it wasn't trying to, romanticize this idea of a teenage body, and more so just romanticize the idea of being an adult and being mature enough to be sexually active or be intimate with someone. My head was full of these thoughts of me being sexy, but that also kind of translated to me being mature and having grown into myself and feeling like I could have sex and be cool with it and not have this weird thought about being in another room with someone and being weirdly stimulated. It translated into my confidence, and eventually I couldn't separate the feeling of being attractive with being sexy. And in turn, I couldn't separate the feeling of feeling sexy and being confident. Again, I am the first person to tell you that it is okay and actually great to be confident and sexy at the same time. But there's this line that we all start to cross when we start to feel confident because we're sexy versus feeling sexy because we're confident. And I didn't tread that line. I was completely over to the wrong side. We're all going to go through a phase where we look in the mirror and we like what we see and we feel confident and we feel okay with being intimate with someone, being with that other person in an intimate way. We're all going to have that phase. And we're also going to have a phase where we look in the mirror and never like what we see. Those ruts are, again, normal. But I began to look at myself in the mirror and question whether or not I could go out if I wasn't looking or feeling sexy enough. I didn't want to imagine myself looking bummy. I didn't want to imagine myself walking down the street, someone looking at me and realizing that they didn't want to have sex with me. And that's really because in my mind, I was connecting attractiveness with sexiness and then in turn confidence, and realized that if I wasn't feeling or looking attractive, I couldn't feel sexy and then I couldn't feel confident. And this was all at like a very, preteen, teen age, relatively early. At this point in my life, I definitely wasn't confident. I was completely concerned with what everyone had to say about me, and I didn't speak out of turn, and when I did, I felt embarrassed. And I was just overall in a pretty bad place with my confidence, as are most teenagers during their high school career. Until I felt like I needed to make excuses to make myself feel better or do what I thought I needed to do to feel better, which was going out and dressing provocatively and trying to signal to other people that I was this way when really I didn't even know what I wanted. I was dressing in clothes that didn't make me feel confident. They just made me feel like I thought I was trying to look sexy. And, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that this is super common, especially now. The images that we see online, the girls that we make fun of that are 15 but look 21, it is a serious problem. It's not just the fact that we've convinced these girls that being mature and looking more mature is more attractive. It's the fact that we've convinced young girls that all people want to look at is other human beings being sexy. Sex sells, and girls are sold sex all the time. I could talk about models and social media and all of that stuff all I want at this point because most people already know that I'm not a big fan. Girls are told that this is what people want from the tens of millions of likes of models on Instagram and their friends trying to imitate the same way. It's pretty hard to not jump on that same bandwagon. Comparison is the devil. I feel like if I didn't go on social media when I got it, I would have been a lot more confident a lot quicker. And it's not just because I would have realized that no one cares about what I dress like and I can just be myself, but it's because I wouldn't have been exposed to everything I thought I wanted to be right away. This is kind of something I wanted to talk about in light of all of the new trends on TikTok with people getting the buccal face surgery, like the plastic surgery, and the BBL trend that went on a while back during COVID. And it's legitimately terrifying. It's basically, for people that don't know about buccal fat, it's essentially like the fat that stores in your cheeks. Some people have a little, some people have a lot, but the surgery is essentially people getting it removed to create more of like a chiseled kind of model-esque look, like imagine Bella Hadid, that kind of look. And here's the thing. As women, we're told that this is what people want to see. We're told that it is a trend, that people are going on and documenting their process and feeling really good afterwards, and like they're getting these treatments. And the thing is, the women, they document these processes, they make it a trend. Now it's a trend to get fat sucked out of your face to look like supermodel-esque, and it gets young girls thinking, hey, maybe when I'm older, maybe when I turn 18, I'll go to Mexico and to get this done for $600. Let me give you an example. When I was 13, I wanted to lose weight. Why? Couldn't tell you, but I was a little bit insecure about my body, and I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. I wanted to be extremely thin, really. It's entirely the wrong approach to losing weight, so this is definitely, not a tale to be told again, but that's for another video. The point is that I wanted to be extremely thin, and so at 13 I got Instagram, and I see all these models that are how I want to look. They are thin, they're mature, they're confident, and it gets me thinking, oh, there are women that look like that. They're everywhere, apparently, because that's all Instagram is showing me now. What's the quickest way I can get there? And then from there, I went down that path, started cutting my calories, ended up with an ED, and you guys can watch that video. It's somewhere on my channel. But the point is, I thought I knew what I wanted, and I didn't. But I was exposed to it too soon, and I wasn't able to comprehend that I maybe didn't want that, or that I should have thought about it a little bit more. And now with like a surgical option that's becoming trends, people don't have that option to just reverse things a lot of the time. I just didn't have the tools for that comprehension either. There's this whole argument about social media and how it plays into our lives that gets brought up a lot. Just remove yourself from social media that represents all that bad stuff that gives you anxiety or whatever. Unfollow people that aren't conducive to your journey. I hear a lot of people saying that. But as a kid, do you really have enough self-control to really say, yeah, I really want to look like these models, so I'm going to unfollow them for my health? I know that even now, when I'm on Instagram for 2 minutes a day, I still have the urge to go back and look at models and people that I still want to look like. Even though my goals have changed, it's the same programming. It's hard to say, you're good looking, I want to look like you, and then completely shut it out. If you don't have that constructive button that helps you shut off all of those kinds of negative things in your life, which as a teenager and young person, you usually have not developed that, you're not going to do the things that are beneficial for you in this scenario. And I should know, because I was that naive teenager that thought she knew everything. I oversexualized myself. I dressed in a way that I thought would make other people think that I looked sexy. I said things to people provocative and about sex and things that I wanted to do without really understanding what that meant to other people or the kind of vibe that that gave off or anything about what that really meant to me. I talked up all these visions and fantasies about the things that I wanted to do and the things that I had done when I hadn't done anything. I wasn't even sure if any of the things that I was talking about were things that I really wanted because I wasn't in that position to really tell yet. But I just thought that that's how people wanted me to act, that that's how people always acted. But I have no idea what models and people on Instagram are thinking or saying or doing, and you shouldn't assume any of those things ever. I also want to point out for some people in the back that might leave a comment about it that there's been a lot of cases about women being sexually harassed or assaulted in recent days, and it's not because women are dressing in a different way. If I was 16 and a man assaulted me, it wouldn't matter if I was wearing a bikini or a full wetsuit. We need to stop treating the fact that women are taught how to be sexy as an excuse for abuse. No, women aren't abused because of short skirts and Instagram. Women are abused because of men who overstep and hurt people. Just a little PSA for the people in the back, I see you. So what's the point of this video? I really wanted to make a statement and connect to people. We're not special. I'm sure many women have had the same exact thoughts that I'm thinking. And you know what? When older generations were younger, in the 80s and 90s, I'm sure my parents were, like my mom was trying on her mom's clothing and trying to act a little bit more provocatively or more mature, just because that's kind of what we see even without social media. It's just nothing like what we're dealing with today. And this doesn't have to do with style at all. It's about people trying to feel sexually empowered and confident without really knowing what that means to them yet, and trying to portray an image that might not even be what they really want to portray in the long run. And you know what? Some women are genuinely like that. They dress provocatively, they do what they want to do, they talk how they want to talk, and that's how they feel the most confident. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with being sexual and being open about being sexual. I feel like I'm relatively open about all of that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that if they've explored other parts of themselves and have decided that they feel the best when they're acting in a certain way. The problem is that we're not taking the time to see what makes us truly confident. And so we pivot to the only thing that we know and see all the time. Women being sexy and being confident without us really knowing what's going on in their heads. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit of a slightly spicy take for my channel. Maybe not a take, but just a video. I think it's a little bit different than my personal sit-down videos, but I've really been enjoying making these, and it's been a fun time. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Again, I'm doing more sit-down videos nowadays, so if you like this kind of like almost podcast style entertainment, this is for you. Leave a comment telling me what you'd like to see from me, and I hope you're having a good day. And with that being said, this is Little Bird signing off.